Yeah, what's good though? You already know who it is though. It's that nigga with a fro. What's poppin', everybody? My name is Twit, and I am your coach for the Grand Canyon Greninjas. Yeah, what's good though? You already know who it is though. It's that nigga with a fro. What's poppin', everybody? Welcome back to this week's, actually week number 6, which is craziness. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to week number 6 of the Grand Canyon Greninjas team building for the UCL official. Don't forget to follow UCL official on Twitter at UCL official to stay the most up to date with all of the UCL happenings, trades, anything that happens to go on with the UCL. And you guys want up to date stats, and you guys want to check out and find out all about when all the videos go up. Make sure you guys follow UCL official on Twitter. Now, what's going on, everybody? Welcome. Like I said, my name is Twit, and we are here today for week number 6 of the UCL team building. I am a little bit I really don't know what to say about this week, man. I don't really know what to say about this. I'm pretty nervous about this week, but I honestly feel like we've got a pretty solid lineup for this week. We're actually bringing a Pokemon that I don't think we've used at all in this season. A lot of people keep saying, hey, you know, you have this other Pokemon, why don't you use it? Also, we've got our coffee, so good morning to everybody. Well, it's not, you guys aren't gonna watch this in the morning, but whatever. Good morning to everybody. How you guys doing, man? We got a little bit of coffee. We out here. We're awake. This is a week. This is interesting because this week I'm trying to be the most awake for this battle because this is the one that is really going to keep me on my toes. I think this battle more so than any battle because we are taking on Joey here. We're going to be taking on Joey or Pokemon MD if you guys don't know who that is. So we've got a pretty solid lineup of Pokemon on our team, and I want to go over his team really quick as well because his team is truly terrifying. And when I say truly terrifying, I literally mean truly terrifying. So we have he's got Manaphy, Tornadus T, Weavile, Mega Ampharos, Reuniclus, Cobalion, Amoonguss, Excelgor, Dugtrio, Rhydon, Claydon, and Audino. Terrifying Pokemon, man. Terrifying Pokemon. He's got a lot of the very first thing, the key thing that stands out to me in his team is the fact that he has a ton of setup Pokemon. And you guys are gonna see what we had to deal with the setup Pokemon and what we had to deal basically with a lot of the Pokemon on his team. Again, it's one of those things where it's like, hey, if we play this really well, it's gonna really work out for us. But if we mess up, honestly, probably just one time, it's honestly just gonna be game. It's gonna really suck. And again, we kind of run into that same situation, like I've been saying previously, where you know, we don't really have, like, we have Pokemon on our team. We have Pokemon that we can use to clear hazards and stuff on our team. But the downside is that the Pokemon that we have to clear hazards on our team aren't really Pokemon that I necessarily want to bring to this, you know, to this match just because I have so many other options. I feel like what I have is a lot better options than setting up for you know, to clear hazards and such on this team. Because, like, for example, I'm pretty sure, now I could be wrong, I'm gonna look it up before I make an ass out of myself and I say this. Let me double check here. Let me double check. Let me see. I'm gonna look it up really quickly. Because I want to say that he does. See, it does not. It's a good thing. It's a good thing I didn't say that. Never mind. It's a good thing I didn't say that. I didn't look that up ahead of time, so it's a good thing I didn't say that. But anyway, so yeah, it's just one of those things where he's got a lot of setup on his team, and his team is just all around really scary. However, it's not that his team is so scary that we cannot deal with it, though. That is the thing. He doesn't have such a scary team that we definitely cannot deal with it. As long as we play our cards right, and you know, we don't try to you know, end up undercutting ourselves or over predicting ourselves or trying to over predict him, because he's one of those. Obviously, you guys know Joey's probably one of the most experienced battlers in this league, outside of maybe like Nexus and Dan. And on top of that, Joey's got like one of the most terrifying teams as well. But a lot of people say, I mean, I know we've got a pretty powerful team once you guys actually do, you know, once I show you guys this team. We have a pretty powerful team as well, but as far as experience and stuff like that goes, I know I'm not the most experienced battler, but I do have a pretty solid team. I know I've made a lot of mistakes, and I just appreciate you guys understanding that. And I want to talk about this for a couple, you know, for a minute or so. I want you guys to understand that And a lot of you guys do, but I want to, for those of you that don't understand much about this league, it's not it's not like an overly competitive league. It's a league for fun. Yes, we do have people that are extremely experienced, and yes, they are going to run house on some of us that are a lot more casual battlers. For example, myself, I don't pride myself on my competitive Pokemon battle knowledge or anything like that. I just like to have fun, and you know, if we win, if we lose, because you guys know, like, pretty much every single week has come down to literally the wire. For almost every battle that we've had has literally come down to the wire, and I think it's fun. I honestly think it's fun. You know, we've had some mess ups, we've had some misplays, I'll admit that. Like I said, I'm not the most experienced battler, but a lot of you guys understand that. But for those of you that don't, I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's just for fun. Obviously, like, you know, maybe season 2, if we have, you know, UCL season 2, if you guys really want it that bad, we have a UCL season 2. Hopefully by that time, you know, I'll be a little bit more seasoned, a little bit more experienced with my training, with my battling and team building and everything like that, and just not make as many over predictions or under predictions and misplays and such. But you know, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna hop right on into our team building for this week here. Like I said, he's got a pretty scary team, but I don't think it's a team that's not able to be dealt with the Pokemon that we have. So leading off the lineup today, we've got our main man, Rotom Wash, aka Holy Grail. You're gonna see I kind of weaved out this week. And went all anime names. If you guys don't know what the anime is, I know this has nothing to do with team building, but if you guys haven't seen this anime, it's called Fate Zero. Go watch it. Great anime. I had named all my Pokemon from that show today. And yeah, so we have Holy Grail, the Rotom Wash here. We got Thunderbolt, Hydro Pump, Rest, Will-O-Wisp with a Chesto Berry. Haven't run Resto, Chesto, Rotom Wash in, oh my, like probably since the beginning of this year. So it was the last time I ran this moveset. So it's gonna be interesting, gonna be very fun. I really like this moveset all around. We have Calm Nature, 216 in HP. 252 in defense and 40 in special defense. Of course, we are especially defensive, being that calm nature. So that's going to be really, really nice. The Willow is going to take care of a lot of Pokemon on his team. The Weavile is going to be a huge threat. The Cobalion is going to be a huge threat. Excelgor, Dugtrio, Rhydon is going to, they're all going to be very, very scary Pokemon to deal with. And you know, the Willow is going to take care of a lot of them. While we do have those EVs in defense, we also have some, we are specially defensive with the calm nature, so it's gonna be really, really nice dealing with, for example, his Manaphy, which I'm gonna have to really play this really specifically and very, very carefully, because he does have the Manaphy with Energy Ball, and that's just gonna do a ton of damage. That's why we are especially defensive for the Manaphy, because a Thunderbolt to that Manaphy is gonna destroy lives. So hopefully we can play it out and it plays out to our advantage. We can play it well. We'll see what happens, because the biggest threats, honestly, what I see him bringing are the Manaphy, the Tornadus T, and the Weavile. The Weavile destroys like pretty much most of my team. The Weavile destroys, well, it destroys the Nidoking and it destroys the what is this thing called? The Altaria for sure. The Weavile also, it can get knockoff. It destroys the Alakazam as well. So it's just a very scary Pokemon all around. But we do have things that we can do with it. For example, like we do have, we are defensive and we're a bulky Rotom set with Chesto Berry and Rest just in case. And we also have Will-O-Wisp as well, which we should be okay. As long as we can land it correctly and play it safe, we should be good, man. We should be good. Next up, we have Emiya, the Nidoking here. Ice Beam, Sludge Bomb, Flamethrower, Earthquake, Yache Berry, and Sheer Force. Again, now this is kind of specifically targeted at the Mega Ampharos, because if I remember correctly, and again, this is gonna be one of those things. I'm gonna scroll back down. This is gonna be one of those things. Ampharos, right? Ampharos, if I remember correctly, it does not. Okay, well, I know it can get hit in Power Ice, and I feel like he's gonna bring an HP Ice, to be honest with you. I think he's gonna bring an HP Ice, or maybe an Ice Punch or something like that and he's definitely gonna bring the Ice Punch on the Weavile there. So the Yache Berry is kind of specifically targeted for that, but at the same time, I know it's kind of a bad decision to plan your Pokemon around one specific Pokemon. However, if I can catch him off guard, all right, if I catch him off guard with a Yache Berry, Weavile, or he goes for example, he goes for an Ice Punch, or he goes for something, not expecting me to leave a Nidoking in versus that, it could catch him off guard, and it could turn out to be really, really good for us. Hit him with a flamethrower. That's going to be all she wrote for that Weavile, because Weavile, it's a glass cannon. It hits really hard, but it is literally as thin as a piece of paper, unfortunately. So it is what it is. We'll see what happens with that. Hopefully everything works out. Again, it's just all about, it all depends on how we play it, and hopefully we can play it correctly. We are Rash Nature, 248 in HP, 8 in attack, and 252 in special attack. So we have a little bit of split, but we're not too bad. We have a split for the EQ, which is going to be stab, which should do work, should do damage. For example, the Mega Ampharos is going to get hurt by that. The Dugtrio, we're going to hit pretty hard, but we also have Ice Beam for the Dugtrio, so it's really not that big of a deal. And we also have, let's see, for example, the Amoonguss as well, which I guess the Amoonguss is going to resist it, but the Cobalion doesn't. So, you know, it is what it is. We have the Nidoking just for that extra little bit of coverage, and a lot of you guys, like, for example, you always ask me, like, you know, I don't understand, you have, like, this mixed moveset, but then you have like this weird nature, but then you're like scarfed and all this other stuff. So I'm just trying to play, to the Pokemon strengths in this particular battle for what I feel like he's gonna bring. But the Yache Berry Nidoking is pretty much specifically targeted at the Weavile, because that is, I mean, it wouldn't make any sense for him to not bring the Weavile, because that bops like 3 of the Pokemon on my team. So it is what it is. It is what it is. So next up we have Alexander the Great. We have Emboar here. A Wild Charge, a Flare Blitz, a Superpower, and a Head Smash, Choice Scarf, Jolly Nature, 252 attack, 4 special defense, and 252 speed. Now, this is another one of those things, like, for example, last week, I believe, was it last week? I believe it was last week or the week before, we had Tailwind Mandibuzz, right? Okay, no, actually it was last week. We had Tailwind Mandibuzz last week, and we also had ourselves the, we had Tailwind Mandibuzz, and we had a Scarf Nidoking, I believe, last week. And a lot of people were asking, like, if you have Tailwind, why did you bring a Scarf user as well? And that's more of, like, the Scarf was more of a contingency plan for last week, just in case, our Tailwind user died, which it did. We still have a Pokemon that at least outspeeds a few Pokemon on the team, because you guys know, the Pokemon that we have for this whole UCL season so far on our team, they're not the fastest Pokemon. We do have a couple speedy Pokemon, but they're not really the fastest mons to bring to a battle, especially when you're trying to outspeed something or you don't have that Tailwind or something like that. They're just not the fastest Pokemon for the, you know, they're not as fast as they could be. So we have the Scarf. We had a Scarf right here. We got a Choice Scarf on the Emboar for the, it's a contingency plan. You guys will see in a moment, but the Scarf and Emboar is a contingency. So just bear with me. It's going to be the same thing like we did last week, where it was, you know, it was a scary, it's a scary thing if it's used right. I mean, all of the Pokemon are scary if they're used right. You guys will see. But yeah, so we have the Scarf, Wild Charge, Flare Blitz, Superpower, Head Smash. I mean, it pretty much speaks for itself. We're just gonna basically Flare Blitz like over. We're gonna try to Flare Blitz everything on this team, to be honest with you. If he's got the Manaphy, again, we keep the Manaphy in check with the Wild Charge. We should outspeed that as long as we don't let him get set up any Tail Glows. We also, I mean, we can Superpower, you know, the Reuniclus. It's not the Reuniclus, but we can Superpower the Weavile. We can Superpower the Cobalion. We can Flare Blitz the Amoonguss. We can Flare Blitz the Excelgor. We can Flare Blitz the Weavile. We've got some pretty decent coverage for a lot of this team, especially, I mean, just being Choice Scarf and not being able to outspeed a lot of those Pokemon, except for the Weavile. I don't think we're gonna outspeed the Weavile regardless of what we do. I don't think we have any Pokemon that are gonna outspeed that unless we get this plan set up right, and you guys will see what that is. So next up, we've got ourselves a Kirei Kotamine, the Ursaring right here, Toxic Orb, Quick Feet, Protect, Close Combat, Facade, and Crunch. This thing basically speaks for itself. Adamant Nature with the Quick Feet is beautiful. If the Pokemon's status of speed is 1.5, so we lead with that turn 1 Protect, get that Toxic Orb boost, and go hard in the paint. It's gonna be, again, one of those things where I could catch him off guard. He could expect me to go for the Protect like turn 1, and I go for a Crunch, for example, turn 1, and he just doesn't realize it, and then I follow up with the Protect after the, well, actually, I guess it wouldn't really make any sense now that I think about it, because I had this whole plan in my head where it's like, I'm gonna lead with my Ursaring, right? Or I could lead with the Ursaring, depending on what Pokemon he brings. I could lead with the Ursaring and end up protecting and getting the, obviously getting the Toxic Orb damage and then Quick Feet and then outspeed, or I could lead with the Ursaring and not go for protect, just go straight out with some damage, and then I get the Toxic Orb boost after that, and then I still outspeed, you know, after I follow that up. But it just depends. It all depends on what he leads with, because I do not want to let my Ursaring die too quick, because honestly, Ursaring is going to destroy lives. Regardless of what happens, Ursaring is going to destroy lives. Stab Facade, the Crunch is going to hurt, the Protect is going to give me that Toxic Orb boost, and then I basically just go hard in the paint with everything else. Max attack, HP 48, 252 attack. We have special defense of 28 and speed of 180. And honestly, like I said, it's just going to go, the only downside about Ursaring is, like, when you use an Ursaring, honestly, you use an Ursaring as like a suicide mission. Like, you put the Ursaring in, you get that Toxic Orb, and you just go hard in the paint over and over and over and over and over. And that's really all there is to it. Now, of course, I'm not really a big fan of the Toxic Orb. I could throw the Flame Orb on this instead. Just because the Toxic Orb ends up hurting you more than anything. Because if we went for the Flame Orb, I feel like the Flame Orb would be better just because the Toxic Orb, like, you lose more HP from the Toxic Orb than you do with the Flame Orb. But at the same time, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, does it really matter though? Because of the fact that, you know, Ursaring is kind of like a suicide mission Pokemon. You just throw him in and you just go hard in the paint until he dies. And there's not really much reason to save an Ursaring, you know what I mean? There's not really much reason to save it once it is toxic or once it does catch the Flame Orb. So it's one of those things. Again, this one's kind of up in the air. I'm not sure if I want to throw the Flame Orb on it, or if I want to throw the Toxic Orb on it. Actually, in the comment section down below, you guys let me know, are you more of a fan of the Flame Orb or the Toxic Orb? Personally, like I said, I like the Flame Orb more because you lose less HP over time, or you lose less HP. You live a lot longer at the same time, but then again, you have to look at, you know, it doesn't really have a ton of, like, durability being an Ursaring. So I don't know, it's one of those things. Let me know in the comment section though, because I don't know how you guys feel about that. I'm actually really curious to know if you guys are a Flame Orb user or a Toxic Orb user. Let me know in the comment section below. But with that being said, we're gonna move on to our 5th Pokemon here. We have Caster, the Alakazam. We have Focus Sash, Magic Guard, Alakazam. Pretty standard stuff. Focus Blast, Energy Ball, Psyshock, and Shadow Ball. 4 HP, 252 special attack, and 252 speed. Again, this basically just speaks for itself. I mean, it pretty much hits a lot of the Pokemon on his team, and it hits them pretty hard. The Amoonguss is not going to appreciate it. The Cobalion's not going to appreciate it. The Reuniclus is not going to appreciate it. The, let's see, the Weavile won't even. Honestly, if we play it correctly and he swaps into the Weavile for whatever particular reason, the Weavile is not going to appreciate a Focus Blast if we can read that swap. On it, like I said, this is just one of those things where it's really nice just to have. I could throw Moonblast on this thing to take care of the Ampharos, but I feel like that would be too specifically targeted at the Ampharos when we're already kind of specifically targeted for the or for the Weavile with the Nidoking. So it's gonna be an interesting play. Excuse me, it's gonna be an interesting play, but I feel like the Mega Ampharos we should be able to deal with, like, pretty much alright. We should be able to deal with it just fine. The Energy Ball again for the Manaphy and for the Claydol and the Rhydon just in case. And I mean, that pretty much speaks for itself. I mean, it's an Alakazam, it goes hard in the paint, and it's gonna do work, man. It's gonna do work. Alright, so then we're gonna follow up with our 6th Pokemon, our final Pokemon here on our team, and it's gonna be Idisveed, the Mega Altaria. Altaria and I obviously pixelate as the ability Hyper Voice, Haze, Tailwind, Heal Bell. This is gonna be, now this is a moveset that is very different from what I'm used to running. 212 HP, 164 defense, and a 132 special defense, bold nature. Again, like I said, this is gonna be one of those Pokemon that is really different for me to run. And the thing is here is Hyper Voice is going to be the one that takes care of the Ampharos. A Mega Evolve Hyper Voice, that's going to do work to the Ampharos, and that's what I kind of have to rely on here. I don't feel like he's going to expect the Tailwind and the Haze on here. The Heal Bell maybe, but the Tailwind and the Haze are going to be the really good moves for us to have because he has so many Pokemon. Like I said in the beginning of this, he has so many Pokemon that set up. He's got SD Weavile, he's got Agility Ampharos, he's got Calm Mind Urea, Unicorns, SD Cobalion. He's got, what else does he have that sets up? I want to say Audino, if he brings it, can set up. I believe Audino sets up. But he, of course, in the Manaphy, the Tail Glow Manaphy, it's just, he has too many Pokemon for us to not bring something that deals with his setup. And if we Tailwind Haze, and I know a lot of people like last week, for example, last week I had Whirlwind on my Mandibuzz, and again, it was one of those things. I was battling at 2 o'clock in the morning. I had been up all day. You know, mistakes were made. I'm sorry, but the Whirlwind, I wasn't paying attention to the fact that Whirlwind is like -2 priority or something like that. So I was like, why does he outspeed me? I don't understand why he outspeeds me. And I got really messed up there. But the Haze is not negative priority. And if we get the Tailwind up and the Haze up, I feel like he's really not going to expect those 2 moves coming from me. Maybe the Tailwind, but if he was expecting the Tailwind, I don't think he would expect it to be on the Mega Altaria, which is gonna, I feel like, is really honestly gonna catch him like really off guard. And this is just gonna make my team so fast. The Tailwind plus the Alakazam, who's already fast, plus the Quick Feet Ursaring, who's already super fast, plus a Scarf, what is this thing called? Scarf Embor, which is really fast. The only 2 Pokemon that we don't have really speed EVs in are the Nidoking here and the Rotom Wash. But again, if we have the Tailwind up, we can pretty much deal with this team and outspeed him and be just fine, because we do have that double speed with Tailwind. So it is what it is, man. 4 turns, double the speed. Hopefully we can play it correctly, and hopefully everything works out for us and the Grand Canyon Greninjas this week versus Joey. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Make sure you guys check out tomorrow's UCL battle versus Joey, going up probably around, actually I don't know when it's gonna go up, but it'll be tweeted out. Make sure you follow UCL Official on Twitter. Make sure you follow me on Twitter as well at _twitwit, and UCL Official on Twitter at UCL Official. And that is pretty much gonna take care of today's team building. I hope you guys enjoyed, and hopefully the Grand Canyon Greninjas can pull out another win right here for week number 6. With that being said, it's been Twitter, and I'll catch you guys all tomorrow, and I'm out. Peace!